Welcome. It's Infotainment Talk Radio. I am the co-host here, Joel, and I'm sitting with the other host, Doug. Hey, Doug, how the hell are you doing, man?
Doing well.
Good to see you. Well, glad to be able to do this podcast sponsored by Infotainment.com. This is definitely a podcast all about vehicles, and we sure do love vehicles over here at Infotainment.com, offering the leader in factory plug-and-play radio upgrades. This episode, we're focusing on teen driving. Which is an important topic for people that have kids that are about to drive. What is 16 kind of the legal driving age pretty much across the country?
Yep, 16. 15 with the permit and 16 with the by themselves.
With a permit, you have to drive with a parent. You have to have somebody in the... And you can't drive at night, or I think, right?
Yeah, they do have curfews. I remember those days.
Yeah. Limited time driving. Funny, quick, I guess, related story. I drive down a side street to come home every day, and on this side street, it's off the main road, I actually saw this guy with a little kid in his lap letting the little kid drive.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to do that.
Yeah. And I think in the first, like when you're a little kid too, you kind of, if you had tractors or other vehicles, four-wheelers, mini bikes and stuff like that, you at least got your bearings about you to drive a vehicle. It was kind of cool. But
riding mowers.
That's another very good one as well. But on this episode, we're going to go through a number of different articles, talk and really try to give some really good advice for parents out there that may be at the point where their 15, 16-year-old is getting ready to get on the road. So first thing we're going to do, though, is invite our listeners to communicate with us. The email address is itr@infotainment.com. It's itr@infotainment.com. And we just want to open up comments. If you want to send us what was your first vehicle, what were you first driving, we'd love to hear that. If you want to email us for advice or any of these links, because you do have a young one that's starting to drive, go ahead and do that. It's itr@infotainment.com. So you can always email us here at the show. So first thing we're going to do is get into a little bit of conversation about, it's a pretty serious topic, a heavy concern, when you allow your kids to get on the dangerous highways and start driving. Many things for parents, they come up and there's some serious concerns. Those who want to ensure that their vehicle, their child is driving is safe, number one, or has great safety features from factory. That's a big thing. And I know Infotainment.com does focus a lot on kits that help people add these factory features. So backup camera kits, Bluetooth kits, a wide variety of different solutions, factory solutions for a wide range of vehicles. So visit Infotainment.com today. You can have your kid be a great driver, but there's also other people on the road that you can't control. So it's good to kind of, tell your child kind of best practices when it comes to emergency situations. The biggest one I can think of, especially growing up north, is turning into a spin.
Oh,
if you kind of lose control of your vehicle, that's a big thing, is just knowing to turn into it to regain control.
Yep.
Yeah, you're slipping out of control on icy roads or whatever it is.
Well, the big thing that they have now is the electronic stability control, the ESC, and according to IIHS.org, they say that's a must, for kids. For that reason, it's... And
you don't even think about it.
Yep.
I mean, you grow up and you think, like, there's kids out there that can't even understand how to use a stick shift, let alone look over their shoulder when they're turning or what have you.
Yep. And,
it just kind of takes one little moment of time to not be paying attention to something, and boom, the accidents happen. And, before we get into all these articles too, my high school had the football high school coach that was the driving instructor. And for whatever reason, it was really impactful because I was on the football team, but you listen to the guy. So you kind of got somebody that's a real serious... Did you guys have driving school?
They did have that.
Who
I think
ran the thing?
I forget. I think he was a basketball coach.
Okay, yeah.
That did it, but an assistant basketball coach. I never did it, but I think that was kind of a way to get out of class. You can kind of go over and do that. It was kind of a
drive the little course.
Yep.
Yeah. But with the coach, it kind of makes it seem a little more serious. So I think it's good schools adopt that and do that.
No, I agree.
Because it is just like sports. If you're playing it wrong or doing something wrong, you can get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously hurt on the football field or basketball court whatever it is. Okay, so our first topic here, what are some safe vehicles for teen drivers? And I'll bring this up real quick here. This is from iihs.org. I think you mentioned that. So let me see. Oh, you know what's funny is I've got my laptop and I'm trying to click it like a tablet. Hold on. Hold on. Grandpa here is getting the link up. All right, hold on. So this is a great article, choosing the best vehicle for your teen. Some of us are saving money, mowing lawns, being able to earn a car, right? But that's only half of it because you've got the insurance. And always insurance for teens is astronomical. So typically the parents will be like, hey, if you can put the car payment down, I'll cover your insurance every month or something, like some kind of cool deal like that where you get a little taste of being a grown-up.
I got a close friend. His son just turned 16. They got him his first car.
Yeah.
And my buddy Larry, and I think he said it was $320 a month just for the insurance. It's
oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
That's like a whole car payment.
It's a car payment. It really is.
Right there. So it's a serious topic. So I'll start out. IIHS is known for its ratings of new vehicles, but for many families, a brand new top safety pick or top safety pick isn't in the budget for a teen's vehicle. In a national phone survey conducted for IIHS of parents of teen drivers, 83% of those parents who bought a vehicle for their teenagers said they bought it used.
Very smart.
I think that's a super smart idea.
Yep.
Or even a hand-me-down, vehicle that's safe. Everybody'd love to give their kid, a super safe Subaru or Volvo or whatever the top pick is out there, But a lot of the times you have to make these concessions. So,
well, they say 1 out of 5 16-year-olds has an accident within the first year of driving. So, yes. So if you think about it, you got this brand new car.
Yeah.
A lot of kids nowadays are spoiled, right? So they want to get them brand new, this, whatever.
Yeah.
So a hand-me-down, that maybe you don't have payments on or whatnot, if it's...
Well, and smart maintenance on the car too, right? Like if the tires are worn, it's going to give that kid a bad start.
Oh, yeah.
So checking the axles, the brakes, all of these things that, lead to safe operation of a vehicle outside of the vehicle, the inner workings, that's a really important consideration as well. And a good practice to teach the kid. You got to get an oil change every certain number of miles. I mean, it takes a lot of maintenance. And driving is definitely a privilege in this country. A lot of people take that for granted, but it's definitely a privilege, and you got to earn privileges, I think, is good to say. But I'll go into some of these things here, but this article goes on to say, with that reality in mind, that not everybody can get a brand new car, the Institute regularly publishes a list of affordable used vehicles that meet important safety criteria for teen drivers. There are 2 tiers of recommended vehicles: best choices as good choice, and good choices prices range from $2,000 to $20,000. So parents can buy the most safety for their money, whatever their budget is. So this article goes on, and we can publish it out there. But you always want to check for recalls. It says, defining safety. So young drivers should stay away from high horsepower. Bigger, heavier vehicles are safer. Electronic stability control, like you just said, is a must. This feature, which helps a driver maintain control of the vehicle on curves and slippery roads, reduces risks on a level comparable to safety belts. And then vehicles should have the best safety ratings as possible. They mention the NHTSA as a website for those. But here, I've got a list of them and prices. So you're a pretty good, well-versed car guy. I mean, inside and out, you deal a lot with vehicles. What do you think they have on this list as the number one vehicle?
Well, for not only $20,000, up to $20,000, and then not only that, but also up to $10,000. Volkswagen is kind of taking over on the top there.
Look at that. Yeah, the Passat.
And then they also have the Jetta, and then a little bit older of a Passat, and then the CC. So all very surprising to me that the Volkswagens kind of were at the top of the list there.
Well, and that's interesting. They've got the Volvo. They've got the Ford Fusion in there, the Subaru Legacy, the Honda Accord. There you go with, again, the Volkswagen Jetta. Mazda 6, Honda Accord sedan, a Subaru Outback. So that list is pretty cool. And then you get in some of the fancier, you're going to get a Lincoln MKZ for a kid. I don't know about that. That's a little. And then they go, the price jumps the larger the vehicles get.
Yes.
When you're talking midsize SUVs, they say Volvo, Ford Flex, Chevrolet Equinox, GMC Terrain. So they really look at the safety ratings and getting all the way to the big $20,000 vehicles. They say Toyota Tundra double cab.
Yep.
For that money is a super safe vehicle. So anyway, in closing with this particular article, they just go on to say, check Kelley Blue Book. Vehicles on this list earn good ratings in the IIHS moderate overlap front side roof strength and head restraint test. If rated by the NHTSA, they earn 4 or 5 stars, overall 4 or 5 stars on the front side test under the old rating scheme. All come with standard ESC. So you definitely want to look out for that stuff. If you're handing down a vehicle or your kid's privileged enough to save some money, they're going to get a newer vehicle. Those are definitely awesome things to look out for.
Yeah, it's great too because they kind of list the price.
Yeah, they give you a lot of information.
They
in
do,
that article.
and I think it's a fantastic article and tells you kind of what you should be budgeting for.
You've got younger kids though, right?
Yep. Yeah. Far from driving.
So this is like 10 or 15 years maybe down the line for them, but still things will change a lot.
Well, now they won't drive 15 years from now.
What are they going to do?
They're going to be an Uber's going to pick them up, but they don't have to do anything.
Yeah, Uber catapult.
Yeah,
we're just going to shoot you through the sky. What happened to the tunnel idea or the Elon Musk?
Oh yeah,
tunnel
in L.A.
thing?
Right? I think they did that, didn't they?
Just get in a vehicle and you're over there in San Francisco in 5 minutes. Anyway, okay. So next up, we've got this great article, and we're going to spend some time on this one. It's from a website called DoSomething.org, and it starts out, really talking about some grim kind of a statistics that they include. But Doug, do you want to kind of take the point on that one? Kind of tell us a little bit about DoSomething.org and the.
Yeah, it's a fantastic website there, and we learned a little bit about it. 33% of deaths among 13 to 19-year-olds in 2010 occurred in a motor vehicle crash. 16-year-olds have a higher crash rate than drivers of any other age. 56% of teens said they talk on the phone while driving. That's something that we could mitigate at Infotainment. Statistics show that 16 and 17-year-old driver death rates increase with each additional passenger. Man, so they got a bunch of buddies in the car.
That's the most dangerous.
They want to show off, and that's the reason why 16-year-old boys are the most expensive because they get with the guys, and they do some crazy stuff. 44% of teens said they would definitely speak up if someone were driving in a way that scared them. Only 44%.
That's weird, though.
Yeah.
Well, they don't want to be like, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Just to slow down a little bit.
I think you're going a little too fast.
Right.
Teen drivers with involved parents are twice as likely to wear seatbelts.
Okay, that's interesting.
You remember the seatbelts on the old Hondas? As soon as you sat down, it would kind of go along a track.
Yeah,
and just put around.
Pulled you in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no way you can get around that.
Yeah. More than 40% of teen auto deaths occur between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Now, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. Those are the hours, kind of late hours. You're not really supposed to be out.
Yeah, they have curfews. That's the reason why they have curfews for that.
I mean, so you're out there kind of making bad decisions, and then driving is another one. Mm-hmm. So that might be a good thing to even practice with, your kids. Say, hey, listen, if you're not home by 11... most of the accidents occur from that old saying, nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's true.
You got to really be careful. Okay, cool. So this is a bunch of great information for people.
Oh, absolutely. The next one here I have is talking on a cell phone can double the likelihood of an accident as well as slow a young driver's reaction time down to that of a 70-year-old.
To that of a 70-year-old.
Yep.
So... it says talking on a cell phone, I'll just read that again, can double the likelihood of an accident as well as slow a young driver's reaction time down to that of a 70-year-old.
Crazy.
So how, I had a father. My father was relatively older, in his later 70s, and I had to go with him to the DMV to say, "Oh, he's okay to drive."
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so that kind of brings up another good question too. Like when are you too old to? When do they stop that? Because they'll go to the DMV and you got to get the vision test, the dexterity test, and all that kind of stuff, and it kind of makes you think. That's another hazard too. So if you've got young drivers on the road and older drivers on the road, that could be a recipe for, hey, you got to look out.
1 in 5 of 16-year-old drivers has an accident within their first year of driving. I mentioned that earlier. I thought that was a crazy stat.
Well, that's the insurance people.
Yeah,
exactly. Banking on that one.
56% of teenagers rely on their parents to learn how to drive.
Man.
And crash risk for teens increase incrementally with each mile per hour over the speed limit. So, kind of goes without saying,
There's a lot of good information. We encourage you to go check this out. It's at dosomething.org. It's 11 facts for young teen drivers, and it kind of ends up with the simple premise here that you have to know the traffic safety laws. I got a good one for you. When you're going through an intersection, right? Are you allowed to change lanes?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to, but I do it all the time.
I do it all the time too. And it's like, I think it's the technical law is like 100 feet before the intersection. You got to stay in your lane.
Yeah.
You can't change your lanes mid intersection.
Because you may have someone come in the opposite direction doing a right on a red or something like that, and they see you, and then next thing you know.
Exactly. So it's little things like that, or like here in Florida where you got to turn your lights on when it's raining.
Yep.
It's a simple thing. There's like torrential rain here, and you really sometimes cannot see.
The other thing, too, regarding that is if I'm on the highway, and I'm sure you've seen it, too, if it's like a torrential downpour, do you put your hazards on or no?
No.
They say don't do it.
Yeah,
but sometimes the only way I can see someone in front of me is because they have their hazards on.
Yeah.
Down here in Florida, especially these storms that come rolling through, everything's gray. You can't even see taillights.
I guess if you're going under a certain mile per hour, if you're going 30 miles in a road that's designed for 50 or greater, then maybe do it.
Yeah, right? I'm thinking like on the highway, it's very dangerous.
I wouldn't want to be doing 50 plus miles an hour with my hazards on, even though it's raining. Yeah, it's kind of counter. Yeah. It's the total opposite of why you put your hazards on. But yeah, that's a great point. And even too, so you've got to look at your state laws. I knew where I grew up driving a stick shift in the mountains.
Oh, wow.
That was like a challenge.
Oh, yeah. First gear going uphill?
Dude, yeah, but it really taught you a lot, too, in the regards of, what you can and can't do. We, when we moved down to Florida, we lived right by a golf course, and my dad had a Ford Ranger, and I would work for the golf course, like do maintenance and stuff. Anyway, the Ford Ranger, I was dropping off brush in like one of the areas where it was abandoned. I got the thing stuck. So I had to, and I forget, I must have been like 16, 17, and me and my brother were trying to get that damn thing out of there, and we couldn't do it. So we had to walk all the way back, like 12 holes to the 13th fairway where we lived. I told my dad. My dad's like, okay, we'll drive the car over there. He got out. And he gets in there and expertly
he got right out?
Does a couple little things, like push forward, rock back, boom, boom, and he's out.
Yep.
Right? So the experienced driver, there's a lot to be learned. So even if you're a younger person listening to this, like turn your parents on to the fact that, safety is no joke, specifically when you're driving in a car. A little incident can, end a life if you're not paying attention.
Yep.
So at Infotainment.com, the sponsor of this podcast, we, love the fact that they offer people ways to add factory safety features such as hands-free calling.
Hands-free calling
on a
so
number
important.
of that is a big one.
It's huge. It's become a law in several states.
Yeah,
the large majority of them now, as well as backup cameras, stuff like that.
Well, and that's a good point too, because I think there's even legislation for automakers after 2018, like you have to have a backup camera.
May of 2018, you couldn't manufacture a car in the U.S. Now, Canada, Mexico, Australia, they don't apply to the same regulations, even with American-made cars. But man, I mean, it's such a big safety feature, And then, talking about kids who are starting to drive, I mean, you could pick up an older vehicle right now, and it probably doesn't have a backup camera.
It's not going to.
Yeah, go ahead and pick one up.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Go to Infotainment. You got a year, make, and model search. Find your vehicle, and you got a little kit there to make it happen. You should do it. And even too, talking about kind of critical thinking, especially in today, doing something mechanical with your kid. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of payoff in that, because you've got to use critical thinking. And you've got to be able to say, okay, so we're following the directions. How does this work?
Yep.
And anytime that you're involved in an activity like that and you get an outcome, it's very fulfilling, especially for younger people, to accomplish things and have a sense of purpose. So, so we want to encourage you, go check out Infotainment.com if you want to add safety features to your vehicle. So, next up here, and I guess kind of, close to the closing of this little session here, there is another article. Yeah, here it is. It is, I'll start it out here. Although crash risks for teens is high, crashes are preventable. Parents can help prevent car crashes involving teens behind the wheel by encouraging safe driving behaviors and following traffic safety laws. Graduated driver license GDL provisions provide a support framework for teens to continue to learn and manage driving risks without additional pressures and dangers associated with a full license. Parents can help manage driving risks by having their teens follow GDL laws and other traffic safety laws. And let me go. This is teendriversource.org. Teendriversource.org is the site where we're pulling all this from. And these are state GDL laws. So kind of like we were just talking about, different states have different laws, regulations. And this is one of them. There's a little bit of information state by state there. But as I pull up this map, it's kind of interactive, is it? Can I click on Florida? Oh, yeah, cool. So there's a whole map there, and you can click on your state, and it takes you right to your state's website for curfews, laws, graduated driver license. And so we encourage you to go check out that interactive map there. So no matter where you are in the country.
They also have pretty cool little quizzes that you can take and things like that.
There's a lot you can do before you even get behind the wheel.
Yeah.
That you should do.
You can never be over-prepared, so definitely check that out. I also enjoyed that website as well, the teendriversource.org.
Yeah. And I think, for a lot of people, too, I would probably, suggest even before you get that kid behind the wheel, practicing driving is super important, but understanding how the brain works is also super important. So, like a lot of kids today, if they're on medication for ADHD and things like that, it can cause a severe inability to make decisions in a snap moment sometimes.
Yep.
So you got to factor in all of these things, and ask your physician, ask, anybody that's involved in your family's life how, this may impact a young driver.
Yep. Absolutely.
So speeding laws, seatbelt laws, impaired driving laws, and distracted driving laws are all included on this site here. And again, that's, where is it? teendriversource.org. So I think that's a great resource for a lot of our parents that are listeners. And it's interesting to see how things change, too. I think recently there was a state that changed the voting age for kids from 18 to 21. Did you see that? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just saw a blurb of an article. But as they go along, laws can change year by year. So it's good to be abreast of that. What worked for you when you were driving as a kid is not going to work for your kid necessarily.
Absolutely.
Things change. Yeah,
things do change.
Like we did not have to wear seatbelts as a kid when I was a kid. So now you have to, or you get in trouble. You get a ticket. Anyway, okay, cool. So, as we continue on, it's Infotainment Talk Radio. We love to encourage people to learn a little bit about how their vehicle works, because you really do spend a lot of your life in a vehicle, whether it's, we almost got a call there. No, we're not taking calls right now. We'll do that a little bit later, but I'm glad that happened, because we will have phone lines down the line. We're really going to grow out Infotainment Talk Radio, make it very interactive. Right now, you can communicate with us through email. It's itrradio .com. But we do plan some great special guests. We do plan to be able to give you some additional information that is floating around out there on the internet and keep it all here in one little place. So, in saying all of that, I think we're kind of near the end of our little short episode here, but we want to encourage everyone to drive safely. And if you're teaching your children to drive, again, and you're looking at a vehicle or upfitting a vehicle, I know a big thing for kids is their cell phone. And if they're messing with their phone while they're driving, that's a hazard. And so Infotainment encourages safe driving practices by offering upgrades to factory systems with built-in safety features such as backup cameras, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, heads-up display, factory navigation with clear directions provided so you don't have distractions. So visit Infotainment.com today, the industry leader in factory plug-and-play navigation upgrades. Awesome. All right, so good. So let's wrap it up for this session. We thank you for joining us. We'll have more episodes coming your way here in April. It is Infotainment Talk Radio. Take care of each other. Be safe out there.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.